Prime Trust Crypto Liquidity is a request for quote system that allows you to request and execute quotes to buy and sell various cryptocurrencies that we support. To request your first quote, you're going to send a post request to /v2 quotes. The required data in the body is going to be the account ID for which you want to trade and the asset ID that you want to trade. Transaction type can be buy or sell. The amount is a dollar amount that you want to purchase. In this case, hot is false. This is the default setting, which means that the result of executing this quote will land in the warm wallet, not the hot wallet. Hot and warm wallets are discussed in a separate video. You execute this quote. When we execute this request, you see we have base amount, the amount that I sent. You get a price per unit returned, and the status is pending. A very important field here is the expires at. This will always be 10 seconds after the created at field. So you have 10 seconds to decide whether or not you want to execute this quote. If I send another request to get a new quote, I can turn around and execute that by hitting a post request to /v2 quotes using the quote ID from that previous quote and then /execute. In this case, we see that I waited too long and the quote is no longer pending, but it is expired. And here is a successfully executed quote. You'll see the status says executed pending settlement. This is a very brief state that the quote is in immediately after execution. And then there's an automated asynchronous process that will move this to a settled state very quickly. We go to the account and we view the Bitcoin balance and look at trades. We see we have a settled trade for $1,001 and how much Bitcoin that added to our balance. Going back to Postman here, we just showed how you can use a dollar amount to execute a quote. You can also use the field unit count to choose a number of units of the actual cryptocurrency. So in this case, this would buy 1 Bitcoin. We also have a feature called scheduled settlement. So if you include this delayed settlement true and the trade desk ID, which you're trading with in a delayed settlement fashion, this data will be given to you by your account manager or sales engineer. You can only use scheduled settlement after your organization is configured and set up with a scheduled settlement configuration, which determines how often and when the settlements occur. If you execute this quote, the quote looks more or less the same, except for this delayed settlement equals to true. You also have the ability to set this hot field to true. Again, your organization will have to be configured for hot wallet functionality before this will work in your sandbox. And what this will do is when you make a purchase using a hot quote, the balance will show up in your account as a hot balance, and you'll have a separate warm balance and hot balance. We go back to the sandbox and review this account, you now see an available balance. The old terminology that says cold. This is due to be updated soon. And the hot balance of the transaction that we just executed. For these quotes and executions that I just showed you are referred to as instant settlement. I had mentioned scheduled settlement earlier. The difference with instant settlement is one, it's on by default, and two, the assets must be available before you execute that quote. If the assets are not in the account, you'll get a failure that you have insufficient balances to execute a quote.